Hello, take two on Snowden and Hillary. The difference between the two and whether or not his tweet is accurate or fair or whatever, which indicates that draws a parallel between him breaking the classification rules out of a sense of duty to the public versus Hillary breaking them for personal reasons. She gets no, not even a slap on the wrist, just a scolding, and he gets exiled, and she may be president, and he has to live in Russia. So let's talk about that.
Well, frankly, I think Hillary is. I think if you look at it, you can tell her she has a lot of convictions, has really strong values, and that she really cares about women. She cares about minorities. I think she's a great person for president, in my opinion. I'll probably vote for her.
Okay. Anybody else?
I was just gonna say like I just can't believe. I mean, I'm not shocked, but at the same time, I can't believe that she wasn't indicted because like Jim Comey, he laid out the evidence in his speech, and he said that there was no criminal intent. But if you look at the statute that they're charging her with, intent is not doesn't matter. It's whether she was negligent or not. And he said she was extremely careless. And today he said that she was negligent. So I don't understand why she wasn't prosecuted.
Yeah. Well, I think like it's not that we're let down. I think that the emotions we previously had about it are now being actualized. Where we're just like, okay, yeah, we were right. She actually isn't going to get convicted. Wow, this is a lot of shit. I don't think anyone really believed that she actually would. But
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, it's like it's pretty fucking ridiculous. I mean, is anyone on
And the
Hillary's?
thing is, it's so blatant. That's the crazy thing. It's so obvious that she broke the law. And if you look at like General Petraeus, he got disgraced for just giving his mistress an email by accident. But like Hillary Clinton, she had like four separate private servers that she went abroad with too that was hacked into. Like the Russians basically had all our secret emails.
Okay, but I have a couple questions about this whole thing. First of all, in all these instances, in my take on it is the problem is not leaks or people getting a hold of information. The problem is secrecy and people hiding information. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's correct
You
that.
about to run a surveillance K or some shit?
No, I'm just saying that the problem here is more that Snowden hasn't been pardoned than it is that Hillary didn't get convicted. Because to my mind, that's the core issue we need to adjudicate with our politicians. Hey, the majority of the American people here consider him a hero, or at least a lot of people consider him a hero, and a majority think he ought to be pardoned. Last I checked, that probably needs to be verified. But I believe at some point it wasn't a large majority, but the last time I saw a stat, I believe it was like 53% wanted him pardoned, or at least allowed back into the country, and without getting criminal stuff happen to him. So my question is, number one, why aren't you why why aren't why won't you make a clear distinct point on this? Do you think that it was okay, good, or bad that he didn't? Well, Hillary's made it pretty clear that she thinks it was bad, but it's all a bunch of national security bullshit, right? And so I want to challenge him on that. You keep talking about this national security stuff. That we ought to trust you. I don't trust you with classified information. I don't trust you with national security information, Hillary Clinton, or Barack Obama, or any of you congressmen or senators. I don't trust a single goddamn one of you with any secret information, frankly. I'm going to need to see that, and I'm going to make sure that you aren't using it wrong. Because, frankly, I think you're a fucking traitor and you might sell it to the Chinese. What's wrong with that position?
I mean, I think it's pretty reasonable.
Doesn't that kind of eliminate secrecy then? As a justifiable course of action for a government in a free and fair society? We keep trying to divorce government from the people, the scumbags who are keeping our nation's secrets safe. If those are in fact secrets, that bitch has no business holding our secrets. If they're
But
so secret,
I think it's reasonable to have that view, but there's no evidence. There's no direct evidence that these other congressmen or senators or politicians are selling out U.S. secret information. But we do
what?
know that Hillary did do
Who
that,
made the
though.
first claim? They're making the claim that it has to be kept secret. It's very important. It's very risky, right?
Yeah,
And so
but you don't
I'm
know.
saying, oh well, Jesus, explain to me why it's so important. Oh, we can't because we have to keep it secret. Okay, well then fine. I'm making the claim that you're not qualified to handle secret information. Well, there's no evidence for that. Well, there's no evidence it needs to be secret, bitch. You made the claim first. Not you, homie. I don't mean bitch you. I'm speaking to the hypothetical politician. Just to make that clear.
No, but I'm saying that like national security information does need to be kept secret because you can't have everyone in the country knowing what the U.S. government is doing to other countries, basically.
Heaven forbid. That'd be horrible. Gosh, what would happen if we all knew what the government was doing?
That's an interesting response. I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm sort of the only argument I think for a government's existence is that it, at least it ought to exist to benefit the people of the nation. And if certain information would benefit the people of the nation by being withheld, then I feel like it's morally justified by the governmental mechanism. But even though I think that follows logically, in this situation specifically, I don't agree with that.
I mean, the problem with the idea is that it assumes there's somebody out there more qualified than me to keep a secret. Or you. Like, why? Okay, I understand they say, well, we don't want this blueprints for a nuclear weapon out on the open market. We should keep it secret. Well, okay. If we say fine, then that's the only thing you got to keep secret, right? Well, no, we got to keep our troop movements secret because otherwise, put our troops at risk. Well, where we have troops somewhere where there's fighting? Why? Is somebody attacking us? Oh, we shouldn't have troops there. We should have their movements made clear. It should all be live stream videoed so the American people can see what the government is doing.
What? Okay, so Edward Snowden was a part of the NSA. Am I correct with
Correct.
that? And the NSA is a national surveillance agency, I guess.
Security agency. Security. It's funny you
So
call
that deals with international shit as well, right?
Supposedly, it only deals with international shit.
It's international and domestic.
Now, well, maybe since 9/11, it's domestic. It was authorized to do domestic stuff, but prior to that,
The thing
it
about the Snowden thing is
wasn't
like,
originally supposed to be that.
I think it's like, are you really surprised though that? I mean, from what he revealed, are you really surprised at what the government was doing?
no, but okay, here the argument. Okay, I think that ultimately what Snowden did, I personally think that's justifiable. I want to know if the government is spying on my shit, which I pretty much assumed so anyways, but now we know for sure because he leaked it. But the thing is, I don't think it should be pardoned because that engaging in that behavior is still okay, that information specifically was something that we happen to want to know. But what if information? I don't want it to be okay to do that. To if there's information that is in our best interest to have secret that we're doing in other countries or some shit, I don't want it to be okay to, or even remotely seen as pardonable if someone compromises on that information.
I don't understand why we need to keep anything secret if we adhere to a simple, straightforward doctrine of minding our own business, protecting and respecting rights.
What if we suspect another country is going to? Okay, let's say we suspect Saudi Arabia is going to bomb us or something.
Hey,
Hypothetically, I'm not.
world, we suspect Saudi Arabia is going to bomb us. That's the best fucking
Okay,
solution there is.
That's not how the world
we
works.
suspect that. Okay, so we engage the NSA utilizes its mechanisms to incorporate some sort of spy or some sort of infiltration so they can get information about what Saudi Arabia is doing. If that information was exposed to the public, we would know, and then our security would be compromised, or our plans would be compromised, and
That's a
perhaps
whole lot of
It would
preparation
definitely,
for
it
nothing.
would definitely get leaked too.
And it's such a waste of time and resources, any of that shit. Here's what we do. Saudi Arabia, hey, we think you're going to bomb us. We're talking about it openly and publicly because in the Strauss administration, the whole goddamn day is on YouTube, live streamed. Everything I do, the whole time.
Yeah, but
Every
what if the
fucking
only way
thing
you
I
gain
do.
the information was by somehow infiltrating their security, you know?
Who
That
cares?
was
The
breaks
point is,
international law.
we have a standing policy. If you bomb us, your whole country disappears from the earth. We won't ever fuck with you. If you bomb us, say goodbye to your country. All of your people are dead and your whole country's gone.
Don't we buy oil from Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
We'll use
That's where
neutron
majority of our
bombs.
oil
They kill
comes
the
from.
people but preserve the infrastructure. That's why we have them.
Yeah, but as soon as we start attacking them, why don't they just fucking fuck up their own infrastructure?
Well, we can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, Zachary. Listen, they attacked us first, so who fucking cares? The point is, if they hadn't bombed us, we wouldn't be killing them all.
Yeah, but if we gain information about what they're going to do, then we can manipulate our behavior in a way that avoids all of that shit, and still
You know what the
remains
best way to avoid them doing something to us? Guaranteeing believably that if they do, we will kill them all.
Yeah, but it's not easy to kill another country, Eric. That is not an easy task.
It's
There is too much.
It's not an easy task to bomb America either. That's what you said. We have been bombed. Somebody's come over and bombed America with bombers.
No, he said that the United States got intelligence that Saudi Arabia is planning to attack us.
to bomb
they
America.
barely-
That's what he said. That Saudi Arabia was planning to bomb America.
I didn't mean like literal like atomic bombs falling down. I meant just like
Little bombs.
I mean, or
Invading.
like I don't know, just like a terrorist attack or some shit, you know?
Okay, well,
Yeah,
look.
that was just an example of like something that hypothetically could happen from. Okay, imagine if like the Islamic State somehow gained control of Syria. All right,
Uh-huh.
imagine that, and we get intelligence that they have some like shit planned. I don't know, hypothetical that they would like cause major significant damage, and it's more beneficial for us to keep that information secret.
Look, Zachary, these sort of justifications have been used for decades now, and for.
I know I sound like such a neoconservative. I don't mean to come off that way.
But look, this is the justification the NSA uses for its surveillance, and it's the justification for all sorts of shit. But you know what? They don't have any actual track record of meaningful success. Now, the FBI has caught a couple of likely terrorists, but the fact is, the NSA.
Okay, Eric, yeah, let's tell all the citizens that another country is planning to fucking attack us. We don't know where exactly at. We just have intel that it's going to happen, but we can't do anything about it. But we know about it. Let's
There's
tell all
another
the
thing
citizens.
here. This is
That doesn't sound like a very
overweighting.
fucking
This is
idea.
overweighting one way of dying. It's overweighting it substantially. Even if we look, it's not like we're thwarting attacks left and right. Okay, we might be able to thwart an attack if we put all this effort, all this money, all this energy, all these resources into doing that. But there's an opportunity cost. Those energy, those man hours, those resources, those added government, layers of government, produce all sorts of harms and additionally have enormous costs. We could spend all that money on something else, productive, right? That's non-governmental. We could not take it from people in the first place. People could put in their own solutions, individual solutions. Those are much more successful anyway, where you say, look, I'm not,
I
I
don't
am,
think if there was a centralized authority, we'd have no fucking way of dealing with an international fucking terror. It would be way too fucking disorganized.
Zachary,
Way too fucking.
you
There's
are
no fucking.
assuming we're stopping them. The federal government's not doing anything about it. They're making a bunch of security theater. They're not actually stopping terrorist attacks. There aren't that many terrorist attacks. It's not that common. Does America have enemies? Yeah. And what I'm telling you is there are sensible policies of border control. Border control is a reasonable thing to advocate for in order to stop them from coming over here and bombing us from internally. I will agree with you. Let's not let any Muslims into the country. Fine. What I am telling you is what we don't need to do is have intelligence agencies trying to scheme with other countries and figure out things they might be doing to us in the future so they can justify more fucking rights violations. Some shit's gonna happen. Occasionally somebody's gonna bomb us. That's gonna happen whether the intelligence agencies are there or not. They might stop a couple of bombings. But if we factor in all the actual factors, including all the money it costs and everything like that, and the opportunity cost and everything like that, then there's zero possible chance that it's a good idea to do that.
Anyone else's thoughts?
Yeah, like I understand where Eric is coming from, but like the average person like doesn't think like that.
Okay, that's why we have Homeland Security.
They would-
Does anybody think
would be
Homeland
coddled.
Security is a good idea? Anybody?
What exactly does Homeland Security completely entail?
They do airport security. Actually, TSA is different. That's different from Homeland Security. I'm sorry, they don't do that. They do other airport security besides what TSA does. They do. What do they do? I don't know. What do they do?
Don't they protect? Aren't they the border patrol?
We had a border
as well?
patrol already. They're completely redundant, is the point, and they were added on there just as a multi-billion-dollar or trillion-dollar, I don't know how much it fucking cost, layer of security theater and an extra bureaucracy that has additional rights violating powers and does not a single goddamn bit of good. We've got the NSA, CIA, FBI, Homeland Security, TSA. These are all federal agencies supposedly protecting us from these myriad threats that don't exist.
I do
agree with you. I do agree with you. Like some of those agencies need to be done away with.
It's wrong to be justifying things with a bunch of what ifs. Yeah, what if somebody attacks us? Well, then we need to build a wall. But we've got other things we need to do. Here's the thing. We're in a good position.
Keep going.
In the olden days, if you were a city and you had farms and stuff, a bunch of fucking barbaric asswipes might come and try to steal our stuff because they don't know how to work. The U.S. is in a really good situation. We are subject to attack, it's true. We're not subject to plunder. And so we don't need to be so terrified of attack. They might get a blow in here and there. If they do, and we have to escalate, and we would be like, okay, look, we're not taking any more shit, so you understand when we stop meddling with your shit, we weren't going to take any shit, right? Because you just attacked us, and now there goes your capital city at least, and we'll work down from there. And I'm not going to feel bad about it because you fuckers forfeited your rights. But you see, if they believe this, it's very simple. If they believe the U.S.'s policy is very, very simple. We're not going to meddle in your affairs. We're not going to give you anything to complain about. We got normal trading relations with everybody. I don't fucking care who you are. We don't worry about what you're doing. That's your business. We think you're assholes if you're doing shitty stuff, but we might talk about it. We might say, fuck you, North Korea. Keep buying our shit, but fuck you. That's fine. But what I'm saying is if you do attack us, you're going to, you have to want your own people to die to attack us. Make that really clear. That's the policy here. If you attack us, that means you want a bunch of your own people to die. We won't do it first. We promise. We're done attacking. If you think that counts as first, that's off the table for you. I'm sorry. We're taking. I'm taking. Draw the line in the sand here. Everything past doesn't count. From now on, we're starting to even. You attack us, you forfeit a bunch of rights. We're gonna fuck you up. If you leave us alone, we won't do anything. And if everybody believes that, and there's no other policy in place, there's none. Oh, you want diplomatic relations? What do you need to know? You want to buy and sell shit? Sure. You don't want to? Fine.
Come at me, bro. Foreign policy.
So you're
yeah. If you want to roll up on us, fuck you. But if you leave us alone, we have no business messing with you.
wait. So let's say, for example, are you in favor of there being more than one superpower in the world?
I think that's an irrelevant question. It's not my business what other countries do. If they want to call themselves a superpower, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't bother you.
What I just said. It's not my. Who cares? That's just a name they call themselves. What does that even mean?
So, but I'm saying, like, if you have multiple countries that eventually ascend in terms of military and economically into superpower, that threatens the United States.
My policy is simple. We'll buy and sell with anybody. If you attack us, we'll blow you up. We got enough weapons to do it. I don't care what you got going on. I don't care what you're doing, how successful you are. Good for you. Congratulations.
Let's just say, for example, if China becomes a superpower and they have a stronger military than us and they're economically more well off than us, and they decide to start war with us, and they defeat us because they have a stronger military.
Okay.
What are you gonna say then?
They aggressed on us. They aggressed on us as your. So,
Hami, think for a second. Think about it for 1 second. So, China. Here's what they've managed to do. They've built up a big military. They've become economically successful. They're prosperous. They're rich. They're doing well. Everything's going great for them. And so they attack America. And we shoot nuclear weapons at them. And we have global nuclear war. Why again did they attack us? I forget, because now they can, because they're powerful, because they could defeat us. They could defeat our barrage of nuclear weapons. No, they can't defeat our barrage of nuclear weapons. Huh?
They're expanding. That's what happens as a country becomes more powerful.
Well, they'll have to expand someplace else because they don't want to fuck with us. We're going to nuke the shit out of them.
But I think if it comes down to it, they won't nuke each other.
Look, Hami, the fact that, in theory, some point in the future, China may become more powerful, quote-unquote, than the United States militarily and economically. Well, first of all, the economically part wouldn't happen because if we did things right, we'd be the most prosperous country in the world with a purely free market society that protects everybody's right to make money and ability to make money and make sure that people are free in their commerce. So that's one thing. But for another thing, we cannot possibly even dream of a world in which it's a good idea to make public policy based on the outlandish possibility that sometime down the road China become more powerful militarily, which means what? More nuclear weapons than us? When we already have enough to blow up the whole world. Mutually assured destruction has a proven track record of working with Russia, right? So we know that. The only data we have on the point proves I'm right. It doesn't prove it, but I mean it's consistent with my position. So the fact is, it's a very remote possibility, and we shouldn't be making decisions based on those protocols. We shouldn't be saying, okay, let's make a bunch of hypotheticals about what might happen, and try to prevent possible things that might happen. Possible harms.
We should just not act at all. Right?
No, what I'm saying is, when you are preventing possible harms with certain immediate harms, we've got a problem. Especially since my solution works, right? Nobody's disputing that yet, that my solution works. Mutually assured destruction works.
I think what would happen realistically in that scenario, there'd probably be a trade agreement made, and because they're more economically prosperous, they'd probably fuck our economy up or manipulate the trade in a way that benefits them.
We have open trade.
Influence around the world.
I'm sorry, say again?
They would also gain more influence around the world and get those countries to gang up against the United States.
Gang up how? To do what?
Economically.
Listen.
Sanction us.
there is a myth out there, and it's shocking that people believe it, that in fact there are competing economic interests between nations. It doesn't work like that. You see, one nation might, in one particular industry, have a direct competition with the same industry in another nation. That's possible. And those things, even it's possible, might correlate like this. There might be four of them the same way. However, the interest of those nations respective to the other nations creates a variable that makes it impossible for them to agree upon what's in all of their best interests in any meaningful way. They can form a treaty bloc that agrees to agree and then fail to actually agree. You saw how long OPEC lasted. Why did it fall apart? Internal strife. We didn't go over there and say, you're colluding in the oil market, we're going to use force to stop you. It fell apart on its own because why? One of the member states wanted to sell oil to us.
So how do you explain NATO and Russia then?
What have they done? Nothing.
No, I'm saying how do you explain Western Europe joining America and ganging up on Russia and sanctioning them?
Well, I explain it as the following thing. For once, the West said in no uncertain terms exactly what their policy would be. They chose to do it together because what functionally that meant was the United States said this. Here's the line in the sand. Because Russia doesn't care about anybody in NATO but the United States, right? NATO is, the United States will bring its military to protect you, friend. That's what it is, okay? And so what happens here is we see proved that, in fact, it works. If we are clear and distinct, and they believe us, that if you attack us, we will bomb the shit out of you, then they don't attack us. That's why they attacked Ukraine, who wasn't in NATO, and they didn't attack any of the countries that were in NATO. Because it proves what I'm saying.
I just feel like you throw on the whole, like, we'll just bomb you if you're aggressing us so easily. Like, that would completely fuck the entire world up. Like, shit would be over if that happened. Like, that's not gonna
If
happen.
another nation, if another nation attacks us, Zachary, what do you do? Do you think when Japan hit Pearl Harbor that we should have just said there, now, come on, guys, you're bombing us? That's not nice. I mean, the thing begins with us being attacked by another country. This story begins by us being attacked.
If another major power, okay, the battles are, they're no longer literal, like, explosions fucking blowing each other up. Like, it's going to be more meta. Like, it's more like tactical control over areas.
Okay,
like, that's what it's about.
So what actually is that, though? Because what I'm talking about is we're going to be willing to do war economically, no problem. We'll go in there and try to say, well, we want an exclusive deal with you. We don't want, if you do business with us in this particular industry, we don't want you doing business with the other countries, whatever. Those kind of shit, that's fine. We can do all that we want. That's not interfering in the business of other countries. That's making deals with one other person or other, by individuals, by companies, by shit like that, not by governments. Now, the key thing to remember here is that when we try to organize things whereby there's a central governing body that's representing America and doing all these positioning things and diplomacy and military maneuvers and shit like that, it's a waste of time and money. It doesn't do any good. What we ought to do instead is make sure that we ourselves have a clear line in the sand. If we want to keep NATO together to protect Western Europe, fine. Draw the line in the sand there. But the point is, that's how we do it, always. If we are going to protect this country, we draw the line in the sand very clearly. If we want to be smart, we pull back to our own borders, we draw the line in the sand right there, we're fine. It works in other countries, it worked in NATO. Mutually assured destruction worked. Well,
when it was brought up, like, the whole NATO thing, it reminded me of the whole NATO and Ukraine and Russia conversation we had last time. And I think I agree with Hami, unless Hami's changed his views since last time, that, like, okay, last time Eric, you pretty much argued that we should let Ukraine, like, join NATO and whatnot, and if Russia has a problem with it, we can just bomb them. Which I think is just like...
No, not if they have a problem with it. If they attack us. If they attack us with guns and bombs and military, then we respond accordingly. If we say Ukraine's in NATO, then Ukraine is now us.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
But I don't think NATO should expand into that area.
No, but
Okay,
why is Ukraine joining NATO though? Because they
because
still
they
have
don't want to be
economic.
attacked.
Yeah, but they still have economic interests with Russia though,
Okay, fine. Listen,
and
but
that destroys your whole argument that you made before.
in what way? Explain.
Because when I gave the China example, you were saying that the other countries around the world wouldn't join China because of their economic interests with the United States. How do you explain Ukraine then?
Because the U.S. isn't Ukraine, dude. I mean, we're not a pushover. We have those nuclear weapons. We didn't give them
Yeah, but I'm
up.
saying in
Remember?
that
We
hypothetical
kept
in that
ours.
hypothetical scenario though, China was far more powerful than us economically and militarily. Of course,
Hami, as I pointed out, you say far more powerful than us militarily, and yet we already have enough weapons to blow up the entire world. Do you need us? Will China be able to blow up the
the
solar system?
nukes the nukes are irrelevant because if they have a stronger military than us, they're gonna have stronger missile defense systems than us.
Uh,
So our nukes are never
okay,
gonna
I
reach them.
see. I see. Hami, you want to base policy now on a predicted future that must take at least 50 to 100 years to reach. At least, because you're talking about them being able to
I wanna
stop all of our
no,
nuclear weapons from blowing up their cities.
I
It's
wanna prevent it.
insane.
I want to prevent it from ever happening.
Well, here's the
I don't
good
want
news.
China.
Here's the
I
great
don't want
news,
China or
guys.
Russia to ever be a superpower.
Here's the great news, Hami. You are able to predict whether the actions you advocate for will actually end up helping China, helping Russia, hurting China, hurting Russia, or helping us, hurting us. You know for sure whether that's going to happen because you've thought it out well and got good reasons for it. So that's why we should take this action that in any other sense we ought not to take. Because you've successfully predicted the future. Except you haven't. Right? You're justifying actions now based on Hami's magic predictions of the future. You say,
Well,
well, this is my. And
aren't your
then,
magic predictions that other countries won't try to gain
no,
geographic control?
no. My predictions are that it doesn't matter what they do. We have a plan in place that solves the problem. And in
Yeah, we'll
fact,
just
if we
nuke everyone.
actually if we actually look at the evidence that we have, if nobody wants to talk about the actual evidence that I presented about mutually assured destruction, we know it works. Now, Hami's predicted then, well, sure, mutually assured destruction works, but what if China gets magical missile defense? Well, what if fucking unicorns fall out of your ass? I mean, who cares?
No,
The
it's
point
not.
is that
That's
that's
not.
so far down the road, it's irrelevant. And
That's not.
it's such a
That's not
speculative
some.
prediction. How can we possibly make policy based on that?
No, but that's not some magical thinking because if we allow China to expand and become more powerful than us, they're going to have stronger. Like by default, they're going to have stronger military defenses than us.
Okay, but Hami, we have enough
It comes
weapons
with.
right now, to blow up the entire world. Are they going to have missile defenses for all
Yeah,
the
but
areas around
no one
China?
wants to blow.
How about
Like
around China? Huh?
no one wants to blow shit up. We
Okay.
we want to we want to
No,
prevent this from happening in a non-violent way.
in a non-violent way. Listen, it's very, very simple. If they are engaged in unfair trade practices or something like that, then we need to respond accordingly. And we need to use economic warfare as well. If they use any sort of military force, they know what's going to happen. We have clear delineated lines. We have clear delineated principles. We apply those principles clearly. We apply them consistently. And when we do so, it works. I presented evidence that remains undisputed about mutually assured destruction, except by Hami's speculative future, in which China's magic missile defense system prevents all the nuclear weapons that currently exist from landing on in its borders, and suggesting that he just needs to prevent that from happening. Well, what happens though if your actions you think you're taking make it more likely to happen? That's my prediction. My prediction is everything you say we should do makes that more likely to happen. We have to prevent that.
And I
Now,
think and I think everything that you're saying is going to make what I'm saying happen more likely.
right. That's why we can't count stupid reasons like that.
So then your plan is just to close our borders and do nothing.
I'm saying I want to trade with people. I want to engage with people in meaningful ways. Shared work, shared profit, shared productivity. And we don't need to think about their business because that's not their business. We aren't a we. The government's there to protect American interests insofar as American individuals can do business with other people in other parts of the world unharmed.
Wait, don't you think it's not? Don't you think it's in America's interest to not have any country even coming close to us?
No. Why?
You don't?
Of course not. Why does America need to? Why is America's success predicated on it being more successful than these other countries on this metric or that metric or the other metric? The fact
Because
is, America is most successful when it's most free, and
that's the
That's a. I don't know about that, Eric. I can't co-sign on that argument.
what? That we have to be the most
Why
powerful
is it more
military.
advantageous for us to try to outdo other countries in certain interests? That's
No,
basically
what
you
I'm
just.
saying is, he says it's important that America be the best. Well, let me ask you this, homie. Let's say everybody in the country could be 5 times richer right this second, but everybody in Canada would be just a little bit richer. Would that be a good thing or a bad thing?
Wait, say that again.
So, okay, tomorrow what happens is everybody in America, wait, let me repeat the question for Zachary, please. Everybody in America tomorrow gets 5 times richer than they are today. But everybody in Canada gets 100 times richer than they are today. So now Canada is the richest country in the world. The standard of living in Canada is the highest in the world. Ours is off the charts high as well now, but it's not as high as Canada. We're in second place. Now, is that a good thing that happened or a bad thing for America? Yeah, should we invade Canada, Hami?
yeah, but this is like apples and oranges. We're not talking about living standards. We're talking about military power.
It's like apples and apples, homie. Look, you just said economically and militarily. I pointed out that one of those things I just proved you wrong. That it's not important for us to be first. It's important for us to be successful.
How are we getting this circumstance? How's it arising? Like, how's everyone suddenly getting richer?
Well, because, okay, for the same reason they suddenly get missile defenses because we stop interfering in everybody's business.
Well, okay.
Because we're making decisions on random fucking hypothetical predictions.
To answer your question, if making our country a little bit better resulted in making another country extraordinarily better, way more advantageous than us, then I don't think we should do it.
Okay, but you're thinking about wealth wrong, right? You think wealth is a finite thing that gets split up again. That's the core understanding of wealth that's implicit here. That they get more of a share of the wealth of the world. If everybody in America is more prosperous, we don't necessarily have to compete against them. We're not having a spending contest with Canada.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, the money's not going to appear out of somewhere. I imagine there's some sort of trade deal, right? And if the trade deal they're getting extraordinarily more money than us, I think it'd be bad.
My point is to do 2 things here. To show that these hypothetical link chains of Hami's that we need to prevent from occurring are so weak that his action is just as likely to cause it as to prevent it. That number 2, if in fact we do have this responsibility to be number 1 in everything, at least militarily and economically, well, then, first of all, those 2 things may be in direct conflict with each other.
No, we don't have a duty to be number 1. We have a duty to prioritize our national interests.
Those 2 may be in conflict, right? Those 2 are often in conflict. In fact, generally it's theorized that the reason Russia's communist state fell is because they spent too much on the fucking military.
Okay, what was the point of that?
So the point is, you're saying it's important for America to be number 1 economically and militarily, but those 2 things may conflict. If we spend a lot of money on the military, it may weaken the economy so that we're weaker down the road. If we engage too much, right?
Yeah,
so this is why we don't base policy on these fucking what ifs, but we have to prevent the end of the world that we don't have any reason to believe is going to happen.
Other parts of the world aren't.
It depends on how much we're spending on military. Like for example, if we keep at this pace that we're going, yeah, like it's gonna have an inverse effect. But if we lower our military spending just to where we're still above any other nation, I don't think it's gonna have an inverse effect on our economy. Because right now we're spending.
That's based on what? That's based on what, Hami?
Huh?
Is that based on the fact that it's consistent with your position?
No.
What's it based on? Absolutely nothing. No, it's based on absolutely nothing. You say if we continue at a slightly lower level than we are now, we'll be okay because I guess we've been okay so far.
Right now, I'm pretty sure our military is like the highest in the world, and within the next I think it's like 5 countries under us.
No, 10.
It's 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we spend a shitload on our military budget at the moment.
What I'm saying is, we don't need to. What Hami's saying is, yeah, we do. We have to remain the global hegemon. I'm saying that's totally fucking insane.
We're not saying, wait. We never argued that we should fund more for our military. We're arguing that we should
Hami's
prioritize our
core
own
position
interests.
is maintain the hegemony. That's his core position. So all that number one shit. We need to maintain our
Yeah,
hegemony.
no, but we can still maintain hegemony by still decreasing the amount that we spend on military.
It's the goal that's the problem, Hami. The problem is the goal. If we want
So
to
then,
maintain
what's your
hegemony,
plan
we will
then?
always waste money on military stuff that doesn't get used or that gets used in bad ways.
So then, like, what's your plan then? Just to huddle up
Let hegemony
and
happen naturally in the good way. We don't try to force shit. We respect other people's business. We don't worry about it, not because we think they're doing a great job with it, but because we got our own business. And we
I think
focus on our
if
business
you
and we
use the
focus on
that's
deregulation and we focus on thriving through
I
the
just can't buy
excellence
that.
and intelligence and passion and productivity of the American people, set free to do that and not subject to some sort of embargo here, embargo there, not all that kind of shit. Get rid of all that nonsense. Now, will those countries that hate us because we've been embargoing and fucking punishing them with economic sanctions and stuff for decades, will they maybe feel a little bit better about us? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe a little less likely to attack us, actually. So maybe that's the way to prevent China from getting Star Wars.
Are we getting fucked over by our trade policy with China at the moment?
The trade policy with China is normalized now, as of not that long ago. But it's not really normalized. We have a lot of back and forth with them. But that's fine. I don't mind having economic warfare with China. If they're gonna pull economic warfare that's shady stuff, then we'll do that too. I got no problem with that. Well, I'll get hackers to hack their shit. Fine. That's corporate
They
espionage.
have
I'm
better
fine with
hackers
that.
than us.
I'm fine with corporate espionage. I'm not fine with military government espionage. I'm fine with a government that's supportive of corporate espionage or international shit, not domestically, and only against people we don't like.
So what are our thoughts on Hillary? She obviously should have been indicted, by our opinions, right?
Of
I mean,
course, without
yeah.
question.
I don't. Well, in the current situation, of course, but I would like instead to see an alternative solution. But yeah, I think if we have to say one bad thing happens here is that Snowden is now, and I said pardoned earlier. I should have said told he's not going to be charged. He hasn't actually been convicted of anything. He can't be pardoned yet. So I guess it's something else we'd say. Like just said, you're cool. Say you're cool to him. I think that's the most important thing to say right now is why can't we get him back here? I want him back here. I want him on talk shows constantly. I want us talking about him. I want everything about transparency talked about. So, but yeah, fuck Hillary. She should be in jail.
So does anyone else have any other
I'd
thoughts?
rather vote for I'd rather vote for Mike Huckabee than Hillary Clinton.
What is Hillary's MBTI? Said asked a question of somebody, and the answer is
Te Dom.
probably an ENTJ. Might be an ESTJ.
The weird thing though is like even though I despise her, like I respect her as a politician.
Well, I mean, she's successfully won these games, but
She's formidable.
yeah, she's tough. But that's not something I respect in general. I don't respect that kind of toughness because that kind of toughness is strategic toughness about what to reveal and when. I don't like that. She's really tough. She'll stand there and throw down with me like you guys do. You guys are tough, right? You guys got me uh, upset this evening because I was shocked to hear you arguing in favor of a global hegemon. I guess some people really think that's the way it should go, and I tend to be like, that's fucking stupid. And a lot of people can't hang with that at all and can't take it at all. And I I understand why, and it's considered socially unacceptable in general to say those kind of things. But that's what I want Hillary to be able to do too. She needs to sit there and fucking argue, not dissemble, not avoid. Actually state her positions, actually defend them. You know, that's the only kind of president
Yeah,
I'll ever
and
trust.
I would agree with your position if the whole entire world was followed like your position.
Well, I don't know. I think you're also not counting all the harms of these preventative measures we take. They're very harmful.
Okay, we're gonna get right back into the fucking circle if we keep going. So we should just wrap the video up now because we're gonna get right back into it. Like,
Okay.
thanks for watching Talking About Famous People.
Good job, Zach. Stop.